speaking moistly, speaking moistly, 2 meters apart, speaking moistly, speaking moistly, 2 meters apart, speaking
welcome to Speaking Moistly. That was just a little bit too long. I didn't think it was going to work, but it did work. So thankfully, welcome with me as usual on a Tuesday. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. The summer is rolling along. I can't believe we're this far along in the summer. Like, I always wake up and I'm always surprised at the date. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like the dead of summer or like, the day before Christmas. I'm always like, I can't believe it's already, blah. August. So have you had?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you had a good summer?
Recess is almost over. Recess is almost over, as I call it, because I tell people that lockdowns are going to come back, and just you wait. This is just our recess time. But no, I've been enjoying myself. I actually I fired a gun for the first time. Ooh. It was all legal. People had their pals around and everything, but that was fun. That was some nice outdoor time.
Very cool. It is fun. I used to go to. I've done a couple of like range shooting. I was in cadets when I was younger too, so I fired 303s and FNs, but I was never very good. I was never very good at firing these weapons. But I was always supervised and always like, I don't know, pretty safe, as safe as you can be, like firing a gun.
Right. I had a lot of experienced people around me, kind of giving me pointers. Beyond that, it's like literally super soakers, Call of Duty. Like, I don't really have that much experience. That being said, I'd like to believe there's some sort, it's in my blood a little bit. My grandfather is in World War II, blah, blah, blah. So there's like some sort of evolutionary psychology reference point, maybe.
Fair enough.
But
I was terrible at, my brother and I used to, like, we play pretend hockey now, and my brother's very good at pretend hockey, like Xbox hockey. But we used to play Modern Warfare 2, and that was the big one. He bought an Xbox specifically to get that game, and the airport one, super fun. Like that was a good level. You could go and the sticky bombs and stuff. But I was so terrible at this game. Like, he would get like 25 frags, and I would be like at 9, and he'd feel sorry for me and let me shoot him a couple of times. But like most of the time, he'd be like, "Dude, like, you're terrible at this game, awful at this game, awful." Those
games are hours of fun, man.
They are. I mean, weird.
They're almost too much fun.
What a strange thing that humans really like to do, right? And I mean, like, you can kill people and then they restore, what is it? Reappear? It doesn't matter. I can't remember.
I mean, I think a lot of like social media addiction and the technology, we're short circuiting our monkey brain. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
The social. I'm conquering things. I'm like conquering the world. I'm the best. It's like it's just the
social world exists without the people who are engaged within this fictional world. Sure.
It's a lot like enjoying a movie in a movie theater, except kind of the next step to that. Like
active interaction, immersion, and then we've got some interesting VR. I had somebody say, we'll get into the Canadian politics in a minute, but I had somebody say, like, I don't play VR because I'm interested in playing the game and like having my phone accessible, and you can't do that in VR. And I was like, what a weird reason to like not want to play VR. Like, you can fly a Star Trek spaceship or like an X-Wing or like an airplane, and you're like, but I can't check my phone, so no. I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird thing to not.
Honestly, for me, it's I get the no feeling with VR, and I mean that as in like, I'm somebody who. I wasn't like addicted to video games, but like I would play them too much. Mm-hmm. And so now when I'm seeing this VR stuff, it's like, this is like crack cocaine.
That's a hard no for you. Gotcha.
Yeah. And
Joe Rogan said that too.
And part of me, it's not just for me myself. It's like, this is terrifying. The fact that we're going to push this on an entire generation and just like not ask any questions. Like, it's terrifying.
I really liked playing The Legend of Zelda when I was a kid. Zelda, I was like, This game is great. I love those games. And like Lufia, a bunch of different games, like quest style games. And then I realized as I was getting older, like, dude, you are the character that's in that game. You could actually like go out and become a good archer. You could actually go. And then I realized when I was doing that like developing the skills is worthwhile. So like,
and what's even more twisted now with esports, you've heard of esports.
Yeah, man.
you can literally be a superstar in real life by being a superstar, like one of the best in a video game. Like,
dude, there's like drone.
it's
There's
weird.
drone racing. Did you? We'll talk about
I've
the
been
drone
watching
racing.
drone racing for
That
a
was
while.
cool. That was cool. I had no idea.
That's badass.
It is.
That
It's like it's like a
actually
Spider-Man supervillain setup. So okay, the drone racing thing. So you get a helmet that gives you the view of the drone, and then you can take it off. So you're standing there and then in the helmet you're watching the drone. And I'm picturing like a Spider-Man villain, like using these drones to do something crazy or whatever. Anyway,
No,
I thought it was
and when you
thing.
watch the camera feed
Yeah.
of like these multicopters, I think is like another name they use for them.
Yeah.
Like it's very futuristic and like it's here, you know, like these crazy drone races. If you can picture going up and around through these gates in like a football stadium, like through the tunnels in and out of the stadium, going through these like tiny gates with a whole bunch of like and like really fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say they're racing.
If you want to look it up, look up like multi-copter racing or drone racing.
Yeah,
and you'll
drone
see
racing.
plenty
There's
of
specific
footage
ones.
and it'll just
I'll see if I can put any in the description at the end, because I thought I was like, wow, this is super.
I'll let people look for it themselves.
Look it up yourself.
On,
you don't want referral links. Forget that. These people
you'll find it if you want to find
all right, let's get into this. Jagmeet Singh does not want an election. Everybody and his dog says Trudeau's calling an election on Sunday. I've heard people say Trudeau's going to call an election because of the Speaker of the House being taken to court, or the Speaker of House, the Speaker of the House being taken to court to keep the Winnipeg lab files under wraps. I've heard he's going to call an election because the vaccine, blah, 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 something or other, and he's trying to get the election in before that becomes apparent. No idea if that's true. I've heard all sorts of speculation.
Before what comes apparent?
They're saying that in this flu season, that people who are vaccinated will get. Well, there was a doctor yesterday who addressed the Mount Vernon blah blah blah, and he was saying that he was concerned that the vaccine.
Oh, and you're saying he's going to want to get it in before
the flu season, this flu season, right? Because it'll become apparent, and he doesn't want to have blame and whatever. I don't know if any of that's true. Like I can't verify that. That's a lot of steps. So
I'm 50-50 on whether or not there's going to be this election or not. I think I've told you this before, but back in sometime in the summer, or like the beginning of the summer, Trudeau said, "Oh, this House of Commons is dysfunctional," and they had just passed Bill C-10 through the House of Commons. So it's like that's not true. You know, you had the NDP fall in line, you had the Bloc Québécois fall in line. It's like you have a majority already. So I think it's to their benefit to spend money and keep Quebec happy and, project like they're going to do an election, because it's them beating their chest, beating their drum, terrifying Jagmeet Singh, who doesn't have a huge budget by the sounds of it, is not ready for an election, terrifying Arnaud, terrifying everyone. And it's like, what's going to happen? Bloc Québécois, more submissive to just listen to Trudeau. What's going to happen to NDP? More submissive to listen to Trudeau.
You think he's using it as a political tool to have these opposition leaders in a minority government fall in line? You think it's kabuki theater?
I think I'm 50-50. I think that it benefits them to project like it's going to be an election. But at the same time, if they have Canadian people, the majority of Canadian people, just listening to whatever the news says, they already have the power. They can already turn on and off the lockdown switch.
But they don't have the power in the House of Commons. And the reason that I think Trudeau is going to call this, they don't. The China-Canada Relations Committee, that's a House of Commons committee that all of the opposition voted to create, and they're the ones that are demanding the papers that the government is taking the Speaker of the House to court to keep under wraps. And I think that that's a bigger piece of this. And I could be I'm willing to admit that I could be wrong, but I think that if an election is called, everything dies on paper, everything including the Canada-China committee. And if Trudeau gets a majority, and when you'd be hatching this plan, he was on track for a majority, so he hatching this plan. If you're gaming this out in March, April, May, you're looking at the summer and you're looking at how strong you are and how weak O'Toole is. That hasn't really improved. Jagmeet Singh, who's the leader of the balance of power, kind of, I guess, like a co-balance of power with the Bloc, but the bloc is like you can literally just buy them off by giving Quebec what $6 billion for daycare. So like Jagmeet Singh is the only like really federal other person that you got to worry about, and they're broke, right? They're back liberal benchers, right? So,
well, another reason why they would maybe want to avoid an election is because then they can hop back into Parliament, push C10 through the Senate, and then push C36 through sooner because it doesn't have to be dissolved. No, but if they have to dissolve Parliament for an election, then C10 is going to have to start over, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but it got sent back by the Senate anyway. But Trudeau, they just had Linda Frum retire, and Trudeau just appointed 5 new senators. Are you
sure C10 got sent back?
Yeah.
Or did it just seem that way because they had to pause for the summer?
Oh, maybe they're going to debate it. You're right. You're right. They're going to debate it in September.
Because that was kind of the way that was presented in the media was misleading.
Yes. Oh, you're right. It was.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I want to be the voice to say I don't know if there is going to be an election. I would still not be surprised if there wasn't an election, and because like I said, I just feel like the Trudeau regime has so much control with the gullibility of the average Canadian, and as long as that's the case, they have a tremendous amount of control over the populace.
Oh yeah, well, and they do have a lot of levers in the House of Commons, but I think that Trudeau is willing to risk the position that he's in right now for a majority that will accomplish the Speaker of the House thing being removed, because he'll get a new speaker.
And what I'm suggesting is what's happening right now with their grandstanding is in the background they're pressuring every single individual MP that's an NDP or like Bloc Québécois to be like, hey, we don't need to like risk you losing your pension. We don't need to do that.
Oh yeah, that's a pull too.
If you just follow and play along, if you just play ball, then we don't have to call that election. You don't want to lose your seat, do you? Because we have a very strong red MP ready to take your spot. And like this sort of stuff. Like I can only imagine what's happening in the background.
Yeah.
With all this.
What about Aaron O'Toole? Here's Aaron O'Toole talking about how dangerous.
Who?
I know, right? Have you heard of this guy? I haven't heard of this guy. Aaron something or other. And I was surprised with the spelling of the name. Not really. Here's Canadians are worried about the 4th wave.
Canadians are worried about a 4th wave of COVID-19. The dangerous Delta variant is here, and we have to be ready. Now is
there. Blah.
Sounds like Trudeau. Was that Trudeau speaking?
Doesn't it? Though?
Was that a Trudeau message?
Yeah. So Aaron O'Toole is putting out his election messaging. It's that. Here's another one. He's talking about, the Wi-Fi. Here it is. Rural broadband, which is difficult to say. Far too many Canadians still don't have access to high-speed internet. We will put a stop to endless delays and become a true partner to the provinces delivering broadband from coast to coast. I can't help but fear that this is like just so we can use QR scanning codes in like rural restaurants.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Welcome. You got to check in there.
We need to track you guys. We need to track you guys in rural Canada. This is our priority.
Yeah.
I think Aaron O'Toole's Twitter is so painful and hilarious because every single issue he decides to bring up and make like an election issue, it's like I'm going to try to find an issue, and it's always like, you're not going to talk about lockdowns, you can't talk about these mandatory jabs, like you can't talk about anything socially conservative. So now you're talking about Wi-Fi in the woods. That's going to be your like thing.
We've got these like birdhouses.
Like everything he brings up, though, it's always like this desperately trying to distinguish yourself from the Trudeau party, and it's just like so pathetic at this point. And even when you see the engagement on these tweets, like it tells the story. Well, it tells the story.
19 hours ago, 328 likes. Yeah, like,
and of course, Twitter isn't an accurate reflection. Because typically more conservative, alternative, media-minded people are on Twitter. But yeah, I don't know. I've told you this before probably, but before I thought, okay, Conservative Party is definitely, they're corrupt. At this point, it's like they are overtly controlled opposition, and it's not even like you can't tell me otherwise, really. Like you can't.
There is a situation where, it's more than like obvious that they're all playing on the same team. They're all like, it's like you've shown up at a small town and you've agreed to play like a pickup game of whatever, and you're on a team, and then like,
Okay.
well, for whatever reason that you lose, somehow you're blamed for whatever loss, and it's like, what? And they're all in, it's like Hot Fuzz. Did you ever watch Hot Fuzz?
No.
That's what I was more getting. No?
Okay.
The whole,
I'll have to.
I was watching, I'd never seen Hot Fuzz. I think I talked about this maybe I talked about this with Gilly. I can't remember, but I did talk about this recently. But I was watching Hot Fuzz and I'd never seen it. And so this like top cop from London who was bothering everybody because he was such a good top cop gets promoted and sent to this village who just lost their sergeant. So he arrives and everybody's super nice, but there's like weird stuff going on. And the weird stuff, spoiler alert for Hot Fuzz, the weird stuff points to like this one person who seems to be behind it all. And he figures it out and he's like, you know, you're the one who's responsible for this. And he gets the people who he needs to tell and he's like, haha, we've got him now. And it wasn't just this one person. And it wasn't the person, like, so the audience is like, we've been duped, right?
I have seen this.
You have, and then all of a sudden they're all in on it. The whole town's a part of a conspiracy. The other cop figured it out. He had to be killed, and they brought in the new one, right? So the whole thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's this. Right. They're all playing this game. They all know the rules. They haven't bothered to let us know, and we think it's Aaron O'Toole, but really, when we pulled the mask off of Aaron O'Toole, it's really Justin Trudeau, right? He was always Justin Trudeau. He was always Justin Trudeau the whole time. It's a Scooby-Doo episode we're living through. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's Scooby-Doo, guys. Yeah.
It's Scooby-Doo crossed with Hot Fuzz.
Pretty well. This is the opposition. This is who's standing up to Trudeau.
So,
you know, conservative, Wi-Fi in the woods. Isn't that what you worry about? And if you look at the random top comment, the random top reply, our charter rights are under attack, bro.
Yeah.
Our charter rights are under attack, bro. Like, you know, Wi-Fi in the woods is not...
It's all for tracking purposes. I mean, sorry, excuse me.
What's important.
By tracking purposes, I mean it's for your safety. All for tracking purposes for your safety, right? What happens if you're portaging a canoe trying to escape whoever you would be trying to escape in northern Canada, and we can't track you, right? To get help to you.
Yeah. It's I mean, it all started with his acceptance speech at the conservative leadership. We need to talk about climate change. That's why we lost last time. Really? That's why we lost.
One heck of an acceptance speech. Now that I'm the leader, we won't make those silly mistakes again, and we'll lose 20 more seats. Yay. Winston Smith. Anybody who is... Like, it is difficult to be a parent because your kids have to exist in the world, and they have to get along in the world. And the world is crazy.
Chaotic right now.
Yeah, very chaotic, very... It is not the... send your kids out in the world and they'll probably be okay. You know, like 1990s, you're like, oh yeah, they'll be fine. You know, they'll land on their feet. Now it's like, holy smoke.
Right.
We'll see them in 6 weeks because they'll be under a bridge somewhere or something like that. But the universities are a microcosm of the wider chaos. And now, according to Winston Smith, right out of 1984, he says, Ottawa University has just mandated vaccines for everyone on campus. This directive comes directly from Ottawa Public Health. So the Ford government isn't mandating vaccine passports, but small businesses, universities, and other members of the cathedral are. So we are going to be we live in a police state where they're tracking you with vax passports. If you're not vaccinated, you are part of a quasi secondary class, and that will soon be a very clearly defined secondary class, which will be banned from most places because, sorry, man, you don't have that shot. You're done.
Mm-hmm. Segregated society. Let's go. Like, things are getting interesting. It's very. No, I mean, I sound like I'm in a good mood now, but that's only because I was, super depressed days ago when like kind of confronting this stuff that's happening, not just here, but around the world.
Yes.
And it's very, very, very wild. I was, before we turned the camera on here, when I talk to the normie friends I have, and they're like, man, just get the jab because you'll have freedom. And so no health incentive whatsoever. Like even the people that got it aren't even saying it's like, yeah, for your health. No, for your freedom because the government said so.
Can you ask them to define freedom? What do they mean by freedom? Cause people get upset.
Right. It's like,
people get upset
yeah.
at me when I try and drill down
Yeah,
like that. Like,
I'm really gonna listen to you who just took this jab and like don't even know why you got it. Like, yeah, that's who I'm gonna listen to. Oh my god,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
It's,
and I mean, like really, I can't fault anybody who's decided to take the jab. The social pressure, it would make people crack, makes people crack, because there is a high amount of social pressure, and like things like that people take for granted, right? So if you're in an office or a water cooler or something like that, water cooler talk, everybody's like, oh, have you got your jabs scheduled? You got your jabs. Like, I don't have water cooler talk. My water cooler talk is I have to do, certain tasks for my 5-year-old or 8-year-old, right? I'm making zoodles and toast, right? Like, water cooler talk doesn't exist for me, so I'm very insulated from it. But I know that there are people who are in places where in order to be a good person, they have to get the jab, and that's like, and they don't view walking away from the job as something that is
our religion is a little different. Our
is.
religion's a little different. You need to take this injection.
You thought Mormonism was invasive, eh? Like,
you want to be a good person, take this injection. What is it? It keeps you safe. Yeah, but what is it? You're gonna need a booster shot in 6 months. Okay.
Yep.
Stop asking questions. That's another part of our religion. Okay. Just trust the science. The science changes every 5 minutes. And if you pass out or die, well, it just happens.
You knew that was part and parcel of living in our modern world. It's wild.
No,
right?
it's
mandated everywhere. If you speak out,
it is at the point where you read some of these headlines, you see what's happening, and you just wish you were dreaming. You wish this was like, can I just wake up from this, please?
Where's the hopeful fiction? Like, I was thinking like a Christmas book, thinking like what concept of a could there possibly be of a Christmas, like, a Christmas gathering in COVID times, like, oh, we all got our jabs and we wore our masks dutifully because we were good people.
This is sort of a positive thing like that. Trevor Moore from The Whitest Kids You Know by chance?
Nah, not. I've heard of that before, but
I
can't.
Rest in peace, Trevor Moore. He was 41. He passed away. But essentially, somebody brought to my attention. He's a comedian. Edgy comedy would probably be canceled, even though his stuff was like around the 2007, 2010s. But somebody sent me a song of his, "Time for Guillotines," and he's like singing about how it's like, this whole political thing is not working. We just got to bring the guillotines out.
France was rolling them out. I saw pictures of people having guillotines and sharpening.
But you're talking about positive fiction, and like, this is some.
Oh, that's where you're going with it. I was like, where's the Christmas theme here?
It's fiction. It's fiction. Remember?
Right.
But it's like. It's funny how that to me that sounds kind of positive, holding these people accountable in the old school kind of way.
See, I don't want people to lose their heads necessarily. I would like to have accountability for people. I would like to say, you were wrong. See that science there? Remember when you said all those things? I'd be like, here's the this is, because it's embarrassing. I'd be like, and I would be like, this has to play on commercials with your face on it for a while because you're so wrong. You wrong people. Like,
yeah,
is that publicly shaming? I don't know, but it would be like
it could be
repeated. Like the mega mix of everything is safe, and you don't.
Yeah,
need
but to make an example, right? To make an example of these people, and that's really the thing, because why is the world so chaotic? Because morality, there is no, like, God's dead, community is dying for the most part, and they're trying to destroy the family. And they were replacing it with this top-down. Well,
successfully.
I mean, it's not. You can't destroy. You can't destroy the human spirit and the human family entirely. Like, they're doing a pretty.
How
good
much
job.
history have you read? You need to read more history.
Well, what? You have a family, don't you?
And I hope that
I have a family, so like they're not destroyed completely. Like, I haven't been disowned yet.
You're right, but
you know what I mean? Like,
so it's very rare for people to live with their grandparents or their great grandparents. It's very rare for people to live with their kids while their kids are having kids. Right? It's very rare for all of that.
Well, in Indian cultures, apparently it's a different story, but yeah.
Well, but I'm talking about Western culture. It's very rare, right? Like,
sure.
But that's something that wasn't rare 150 years ago, right? Like, you would know your grandparents, you would know your grandkids in a way that was very different than people know each other now. And like it's a mark of success to have your own house with your own family and not have to like share, right? Not have to compromise. That's seen as a successful thing in our society. But there's a piece we're missing from the lack of connectivity to those people, right? And so like, yeah, we have family. Yeah, like my parents raised me, you know, and and I have a brother, and I have multiple brothers and a sister, but that structure. One, my parents, that was hard fought by them, and two, it looked really different than like the 9 brothers and sisters my grandfather on my mom's side had, and the same with on my dad's side. They had 9, you know, lots and lots of brothers. Their cousins, like everybody lived on the same block, right? Like everybody would go to their grandparents' house, right? So like very different life than that, and it wasn't that long ago. So it's very yes and no.
Well, I mean, but the difference is this: like, we need to have hope, because unlike what's happened in history, there's not really anywhere to escape to anymore. You know, like the situation's a little bit more dire, because it's like, okay, if Canada becomes fully compromised, commie Canada, where am I going to go? Commie USA?
Commie USA,
like,
Biden's USA.
You know, it might save me, like, it might save me like a generation or something of time. But it's like, this is kind of like our war for, you know, for my lifetime anyway. It's because it's like, what, gonna go to France? Like, go over there? Like, it's happening everywhere.
Okay, so sometimes I think to myself, I was talking about this on my show. You've backed yourself into a corner, right? You think to yourself, I have a job. The job wants me to get the jab. I don't have an exemption. I don't have a valid exemption that I think is valid that I can bring to my job. I don't have any way around this at all. My life is decided by my job. I'm backed into a corner. Now, if you were to ask me, I'd say, back up even further. Like, widen your possibilities. What if you could walk away from the job? Now you're not backed against a corner. Now it's your choice, right? Like, what if there was a situation? Are we in the same situation with Canada? Are we looking at this too narrowly? Are we backing ourselves into a corner by not being, and I don't know if that's true, by not being circumspect enough, not being broad enough in our view to realize that there is a way out? We're just so happy with certain things. We're not willing to give those certain things up for freedom. You see what I'm saying? We've trapped ourselves a little bit. And I'm not sure how to find that balance or communicate that at all.
I think that there, unfortunately, something that has defined Canadian identity, or what I'm discovering, is there's this sort of follow the herd sort of mentality.
That's human, not just Canadian.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a little bit more stronger here, where we don't want to ruffle the feathers. We're nice. We don't want to, upset the social order of things.
We've been conditioned really well. Our school system is really good at creating people who follow the rules or follow direction.
And I think that's playing against us in this situation, because, yep. And in the scenario of someone being at work and like not wanting to get the jab, for example, it's you're right. I think we do see it as like there's less options. Like, what am I going to do? Like, abandon my job? Like, it's seen as less of an option to people. But yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. I mean, it's as simple as like, for now, like just saying no or what have you. That being said, I think the solution is actually seeing where this is going and getting ahead of that and starting to talk like it's going to be a year from now. And being like, they are trying to throw us. Well, with a year? You think they're going to try to throw us in camps by the fall? Like what do you mean?
Sure. Yeah. Vaccines are mandatory on campus. I think that they're pulling the trap tight. Like they're already starting to tighten it up, right? And
but my point is like getting ahead of it now. And talking about it now, talking about as if they are going to throw us into camps now.
That's going to make people
as opposed to like letting them justify it and then like letting it very softly happen.
They're already justifying it. I think that like it's such a weird balance, because I think it's like on the doorstep. to like having people show up. We're watching it happen in like Australia and places. It's on the doorstep of it happening, but if you say it, people would reject it. If you're like, we're right on the cusp, right? People are like, no, until it happens. And even when it happens, they'll justify it. They'll say, well, there's a reason because they were a danger to everybody, right? Like, you have to understand this. We're doing this for their own good and our own good,
okay,
right?
sure.
Like, that's what I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying that's what they're going to say.
It's just going to happen. All right, Mark. So we'll just roll over then.
No, like, it's not about rolling over. It's about being like understanding where we are. So in 2019, do you remember like 2 or 3 days ago, I shared that video from 2019 where the woman was sitting in her car and said they're gonna fake a pandemic. Trump signed this executive order looking at flu things, blah 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 blah. She called what was happening. It was like a 15-minute video. She's in her car and she was very upset. She swore a lot. I said previously as well, if I went back in time with all this knowledge and I could like not prove that I was back in time. If I was, went back to 2018 and said, listen, Greg, I know blah, 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 blah. You'd be like, you're crazy and I'll see you later. Like, I hope it doesn't happen. Doesn't seem likely. Bye. And that's what people will do. And so like, if you can say, listen, like, look at all this stuff, like here to here to here to here to here, and here's where we are. And they're going to put us in camps. You're going to get, 1,000 people who are going to be like, yeah, you're probably right. And then 37 million other people go. And then there'll be some people in the middle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong.
I guess so. But
I hope I'm wrong.
For the people that are resistant to this stuff, there needs to be more of an effort. There needs to be more like organization of some kind. Because we do believe that. We are on the same page about that, and it's too bad that the dissident right wing is so like messy and divided. You got the Maverick Party, you got Sloan's new party now, PPC. It's too bad it's not like a more united front against what we all agree on. We pretty well all agree on everything. Yeah. So
wow,
it's too bad it can't be a better united effort.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Part of it as well is understanding there's consequences for speaking out. Dr. Christian was fired now. Surgeon fired by College of Medicine for voicing safety concerns about COVID shots for children. This is back in June. It was just re-upped on my. I don't know why somebody was mentioning it, and I thought like, yeah, we should talk about that. But it's part and parcel of like if you speak up, there could be consequences.
And what's funny is like you talk to a normie and they're like, well, I just trust the experts. And it's like, well, what about the experts that like disagree with this stuff or disagree? Like it's funny how your experts are always associated with some massive alphabet corporation, whether it's like the CDC or like, the Canada Public Health. And it's always a bunch of like faceless experts. Whereas when an individual expert comes out and gives a dissenting or different, even asking a question, in some cases, that they get canceled. And this is actually a good juxtaposition. I can maybe find the link for you, but these NDP, like these pro-lockdowners in Alberta, right? You've seen this like pro-lockdown.
The paid agitators, you mean?
Well, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. What's so fascinating about this, I'll try to bring it up now because it's actually kind of hilarious. Essentially, they're like saying, the UCP, these conservatives are crazy because they're not locking us down hard enough and blah, 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 blah. And then CTV, here, I'll just send it to you now. Sure. CTV does this piece saying fundamentally undemocratic Alberta medical, political, and legal experts criticize UCP government tactics. And this article speaks specifically of like, I'm an expert and I'm being silenced. Can you believe this? And it's like, wow. So the pro lockdown experts of being politicized. Let me try to find a good expert.
Hold on.
Okay, so here's the link here. Fundamentally undemocratic. Alberta medical, political, and legal experts criticize the UCP government tactics. And these experts are people who are like pro-lockdown. They're pro-lockdowners, In the third paragraph, legal expert Lorian Hardcastle says the province's issues managers and press secretaries have been going too far in what she calls their gaslighting tactics. And then in the next paragraph there, Hardcastle said, there's also a discrediting of your expertise. I was called an expert in quotation marks just this week.
I love experts.
So it's insane that, it's insane that any pro lockdown person, they're being discredited with like, we are individual experts coming forward to try and like force more lockdowns. How dare they not listen to us? And it's just like, this never happens the other way.
Yeah.
Like the pattern is so painfully obvious that it's just, I don't know. It just feels like we're yelling into a void at this point sometimes, right?
Some days, man. Some days. Some days, that's for sure.
Ah!
Well, do you want to talk about...
An expert was silenced and discredited? Oh my God.
Holy
Hi,
smoke.
I'm from the right wing. Nice to meet you. This has been our entire last year. God.
Do tell me your story. It's unbelievable. I can't imagine.
Yeah, whoa, no way. They didn't listen to you? Holy crap.
They took down your YouTube channel? No? Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I think that's good. We're going to talk about tigers and stuff, but forget about it. Governor Como, F him. Who needs that?
Yeah, whatever. It's more insanity. It's more insanity.
It is.
I think you could just bring up the tiger thing for a second, though. Like,
yeah, you want to? Okay, let's look at the
they
tiger.
injected a tiger with
cool.
with the with the jab. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like trust the science, and it's like every day the science is like, what? Oh, we're injecting tigers now.
Like,
you didn't know that? It's like, yeah, trust the science, like idiot.
Is the tiger out in public
Okay.
mauling the public? We have to protect the tiger from those evil public who might infect the tiger. Like, is the tiger?
Yeah. I think I retweeted a tweet of yours today, which this morning, and it basically said like alongside everything pandemic related, there's this big psychological experiment going on where I suspect they're collecting huge data sets to see what people will buy and not buy and be afraid of and not be afraid of. And it's like, let's try this injecting tiger thing. Let's see how they respond to this one. Yeah. Or the other one you were tweeting about was like some crazy phrase that they were saying, some catchphrase. Oh, the unjabbed have run out of time.
Oh yeah,
that one.
That was a weird.
And it's like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? And it's like, this is just like the only thing that makes sense to me is like we're in this big psychological experiment, and it's literally if you work in marketing, it's like A/B testing.
Yes,
like they're trying this copy, and then they're trying this copy.
Yeah,
like which copy is going to be more effective to increase our conversions?
100%. In the same day, the Moore was quoted in a City TV article, I think it was, saying that get jabbed now if you haven't got your first one. There's still time. So like on the one hand, those dirty unjabbed have run out of time, and on the other hand, get injected ASAP because you've still got time for the protection that this vaccine offers. Okay, sure. Like, totally believable.
Yeah. I mean, the different messages that come out every day are insane. Like, speaking of that, just a few days ago, it was saying unjabbed people who are naturally immune because they caught the virus, they are like 10 to 20, like 2 times more likely to die. Yeah. And then in the same day, it's like, by the way, if you have the jab, it basically, you definitely can't have it. You like, just to confirm, you can totally spread it. You can totally still have it.
Yeah.
And it's
I've seen all that.
I'm still not seeing the incentive to get this thing. And this feels like fear mongering where you're acting like the immune system doesn't exist. Science changed in 2020. It's like everything we thought we knew about the immune system, we were wrong about it all. Turns out you need to listen to the government.
Yeah, man. I think the most incredible aspect of all of this is the fact that we have just tossed out everything we knew, everything that was like grounding, and like you could be like, at least that, at least. Yeah. Like the world makes sense to that degree. We've just thrown it all out. I said to my mom, my mom and I were talking, this is going back 6 months now. She said, well, the world's not gone that crazy. I said, well, at least in the 1980s, when Mikey and I, my brother and I, were young, you could reliably say you've got 2 boys. I said, now, like, somebody could be like, sorry, buddy, you got 2 daughters. Like, and what are you going to say? Like, the whole world's gone crazy. Like, and it's just like, how do you, so, I mean, not how do you push back? Because like, you can't go back. You have to go through this. There's no going back, right? We have to have a goal somewhere. We have to actually like plan. We can't be like, run away. We have to, and they have a plan. They have an idea of where they're going. They've built the places they want to put us actually while they go where they're going.
Yeah, they've set their goals. They've built their goals.
Yeah,
we want to. Everybody who questions Trudeau, we want them into camp. Maybe that was their goal.
That might have been their goal.
Years ago.
That might have been their goal.
And we've almost achieved that goal. It's we're not going to be divisive.
You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy. Because on Taco Tuesdays, and they've got a video on Fridays, like. So you'll be mostly happy, right, during Taco Tuesday and Video Friday nights.
Oh, man.
Goodness me. All right. Final thoughts, sir. Final thoughts. Where can they find you?
Final thoughts. No final thoughts today. Enjoy the summer. Get some fresh air. Get some time away from your cell phone. Do yourself a favor. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at Greg Wycliffe. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at GDubDDUB. Thank you for having me, Mark.
Always, man. Always good to have you. You can check out my stuff at CanadaPoly.com. You can check out our back catalog at SpeakingMoistly.co. You can check out my scratchpad at CanadaReport.co. You can check out our call-in show, my call-in show. You're not on it yet, are you? My call-in show.
No.
Sundays, you could come on Sunday. That'd be fun.
Okay.
On Sundays, 12:30 to 1:30, we talk politics. It's more like a kitchen table talk. We're all sitting around on a Google Meet and we talk, and then I put it up. And I've got like topics for the conversation every week. So we do that weekly. So you could sign up at Canada Report or Canada Poly on the sidebar there. That's a lot of stuff, man. We do lots, don't we? Jeepers creepers. Well, we'd love to see you there. And thanks for watching, everybody. Here's the Prime Minister to play us out. I know some people hate this, but I think it's a funny song. So here we go. Maybe.
Moistly. Speaking moistly. Keep 2 meters apart. Speaking moistly.
Oh, what a terrible image.